Hi, this is Laurie Dobson, and it's Island Update. Today is Sunday, June 21st. Yesterday was the first day of summer, and I had talked about being a good neighbor, and so I'm kind of continuing on that theme. BEE, being a good neighbor, environmentally conscious, aware of your surroundings and the well-being of your area, your place, and in our case, the island of Great Cranberry and Osford, which is nearby. So I just saw a nice bunch of birds landing on our feeder behind you there. Here, I'll show you. There's the house, and there's, let's see, there's the, you can't really see it, up the stairs there. There's a line. They're very happy, and there's our garden. It's not huge yet, and we're working on it. And then there's tons of lupins. It's been a huge year for lupins. And in the back, over there are the bees. That's Bob in the distance looking at his bees. He's concerned about one of the hives. It's not as energetic as the other one. They're new. They just came here, so they're the newbies in the neighborhood. People are already talking about Bob and Bob's bees, and he's got somebody sent him a joke about a farmer giving away bees, and the last one was a free bee, so it didn't cost anything. Anyway, it's okay, because an identity of being somebody who's got a stewardship is it's a beautiful thing, and it's an important thing to have a stewardship, an environmental stewardship, particularly when you're in a place that's sensitive and its resources are sensitive. I mean, with one fire here, the whole island could go up in, just smoke. It's kind of scary. We do what we can, but a lot of us know, if our house goes, it's up to us to keep it, from being on fire. It's a particularly heightened sense of vulnerability, and it helps because you take your responsibility more deeply. And I think the problem with and the anxieties that cause people particular grief all over the place, not just on an island or with newbies, is the vulnerability of a population. And I think that we all have to have a morality that understands this. So the more vulnerable a population is to another population, the more potential there is for extinction, especially on a large scale, at any scale, then the more requirement to manage and control those elements, that do that could cause that kind of harm. And sometimes it's inadvertent. The more we learn, the more that, any kind of stewardship involves a certain amount of risk of a population, like we're reading about 500 dead bees that came just because the guy on the cover that he put over the screen to the water, that there was a hole in it. So the bees actually got through the hole in the cover, through the screen, and then drowned in the water. 500 bees. It's negligence. It reminded me of the COVID thing, where just a little bit of negligence created so much more of a catastrophe. It's someone with responsibility not taking the responsibility seriously, preferring to use the advantage of their power, and just thinking about the benefits of their position rather than the responsibility. And another thought I had was, that kind of relates to bees. Where are they? Here they are. There is that, they're subject to sensitivities in their environment from stress. They've been moved around, they've been displaced, like immigrants, like populations where security of your home is not a given. People of low income, where landlords and the various factors of employment and the vagaries of that can cause a lot of displacement anxiety. And if you don't have a sense of belonging and a sense of permanence and a sense of security, like I've been lucky to have here, and I can plant, I can dig, I can invest in gardens, which are around the corner. You can't see them here, but I've been able to, make plans for the future. And there are no, permanent securities, but when you have the ability to make a plan, it's so much better. Bees don't know where they are even, and they don't know when, like they don't know what happens to them when they see die off in their colonies. It could be mites, and that comes from an immune system or a stress on them, and it reminds me of the higher COVID rates of minority populations and people of low income and insecurity of lifestyle. You're already at a risk, and that shows up in stress illnesses like diabetes and other things. And also the inability to get micronutrients in your diet as well as macro, because they cost more money. Fresh fruit, organic produce, etc. There's so many ways that people have been one down generationally. The GI Bill started a lot of it when whites got the huge advantage over blacks returning from the war. And that started a process of prosperity and preference over who's going to live where. We have so much built-in racism now that we can afford to be somewhat oblivious to it. And I don't mean afford, but we can, because we have, we didn't directly do these things. Others did it for us. Others did it for us. I don't mean for us. I have to take ownership of that expression. What I mean is they did it so that we didn't do it directly, so we have deniability. So we don't have to bear the guilt. And I'm just saying, I think it's time that we do bear the guilt. And I'm not actively in favor of reparation, although I do think Marianne Williamson has a good idea about that. I think $600 billion was a figure she put on it. I think actually I would support any kind of moves like that. I'm not here talking reparations exactly. I'm talking about individual responsibility. So, for example, because I benefited, there aren't Indians here, so nobody's trying to take the land from me, or I'm not taking land from them, which is more true to the situation. I get to somehow gracefully just come here and be here. Nevertheless, being here means I'm a ward of this place. I don't just come in and have it for a while and go away blithely. I take consideration over the fact that I'm allowed to be here on this land. I have a privilege that I need to honor. And some people here on this island of Great Cranberry started the Futures Group, which was people like David Stainton and Owen Roberts. I think I've mentioned these people before, Dick Pearson and some others. They wanted to take care of the future of the island. We're looking for some directors, new directors this year, and a new vision going forward. We've been working on our mission statement, and we're taking it seriously. So, hope anybody interested will let me know or let us know. Our annual meeting is next month. But it's not just the future of this island that I'm concerned about. I feel that to be a repairer is maybe more true to repairer of our planet, which I think reparation is trying to address. So you want to avoid things that are catastrophic. You want to be a good steward, like of the bees. You want to prevent the things you can prevent, and you want to keep them healthy. So you don't want them to be subject to difficult things. You want to make sure their water is good and clean and readily available. You want to, so they don't overheat. You want them strong so they can fight off invaders like killer hornets. They can do it themselves if they're strong. They have a way of surrounding their host and heating it up with fanning their wings and overheating the wasps. I think it's pretty awesome. They can take care of their own, but they need our help. And they can do that, but when we do things like, is it corticosteroids, Roundup, when we just make life convenient for ourselves and do mosquito repellent, thinking it's not going to hurt them, well, maybe it doesn't kill them, but I guarantee you it isn't helping. I guarantee you. And there are native bees that are more affected, perhaps. I don't know all the ins and outs of the insects in the insect world. It's Bob's domain, but I, being on the flower end of things, I want to make sure that, that these guys do well, all the stuff. And I want the bees to be happy. I want to have an ecosystem here that's an example and healthy, so that we can instruct each other on how to be good neighbors. So I'm going to be, kind of vocal about that. I think being a good neighbor means so much more than, not in my backyard, a NIMBY person. And that's how everybody starts out, kind of, if it's in your backyard, if it affects you directly in your welfare. but it can grow. That responsibility can grow so that, ultimately you're caring for the whole planet, right down to every last person. And how many of us can say that we care about any individual stranger as much as we care about our own children? In the Mahabharata, that was the challenge given to Arjuna's brother by Krishna, I believe. There will always be war until we do that. And it's applying the golden rule. Bob's kept it simple. His golden rule now will extend to honey. And the golden honey rule, just be a good neighbor. And it's something worth contemplating. Bees have a fierce lifestyle. They take care of their place. They don't like certain things and they can't bear other things. So let's not do the things they can't bear. Let's not spray and put pesticides into the ground and into the air. That's my statement here. We can manage some discomfort around mosquitoes. We can manage to wear clothing, and repellent clothing even, and repellent on our bodies or on our wrists with those little bracelets, or we can go out at different times of night. We don't have to worry about ticks here. We don't have an active menace, with the Lyme disease as much as some places, but we do have things to do that we need to do to actively take care and repair, reform, teach, educate, love. And that's what we're committed to. Okay. Neighbors just showed up. So I'm going to sign off. Have a wonderful day.